morning, everyone. So I'm going to do this really quickly just because I'm getting ready for work. Sorry, I'm making my coffee. So we got our genetic testing back for our 12 embryos. So we started out with 22 eggs, 21 mature, 16 fertilized, and then 12 developed and made it to the blastocyst stage. And so out of those 12, we have 6. So it's just so amazing. Like, I was so excited, just because of our history with miscarriages. I wasn't expecting so many. I really expected it to be a genetic factor, and maybe that our genetic material just didn't come together good. So I was really expecting it to be bad, and it wasn't. It was actually pretty on track. So if you watched my last video, you know that I kind of just talked about how we just happened to be kind of right along with our age group, which is awesome because it's not something I expected with my weight, my low AMH, and our history in general. Because my husband also has male factor. He has one-sided male factor, so he has the morphology, which can make it harder just because it's a lot harder for them to break through the outer layer of the egg. But of course we did ICSI, so obviously there's no issue there. They break through it for them. Anyway, so yeah, we are just super excited. It at least gives us a few shots to do ourselves, because if it doesn't work for us, at least we have a few to try. And then if that doesn't work, then we can think about doing surrogacy. I don't specifically know anybody who would be willing to be a surrogate for me. I do have one friend, but I could never ask her. She has some medical conditions that just kind of came up, so I don't want to put her in that position. And she hated being pregnant, so I could never ask her to do that. So the only other option is going through the like the donor type route, where they volunteer but you don't know them, unless if I happen to say something and then somebody offers. But I mean, I haven't really had that option, so yeah, that's the update for now. I was supposed to also get my factor V Leiden, MTHFR stuff back by now. I've had to redo the test 3 times, which is really, really frustrating, just because honestly, it just feels like it's never ending at this point. So first time came back inconclusive, but there is, I think, excessive clause. I don't even have anything back. They sent me a letter in the mail saying that you need to redo the protein C resistance test. And then I got another letter in the mail about 2 weeks later saying protein C resistance came back inconclusive, and that they suggest the factor V Leiden specific test. So now I did the genetic factor V Leiden test. So I guess they have to do other tests and rule other things out before they move on to that. But because I had to redo the protein C resistance, because I had to redo the protein C resistance test, it now moved it out by like a month. So that's why I'm making this so late. I was hoping to have everything all at once, but I just redid the other test again for the factor V Leiden, and I still don't have results, obviously, because the factor V Leiden is probably going to take another 2 weeks. And I at least wanted to let everybody know kind of what happened, and that we have 6 genetically normal embryos. So it's very exciting. I did talk to my fertility doctor. He is going to treat me as if I have factor V Leiden, even though I do not have the results yet, just because of our history with miscarriages and the fact that my first miscarriage was failed due to subdural hematoma, so big, huge blood clot. So he's going to treat me with heparin before we do our transfer. I had my vaccine shot on April 5th, and it extended my period. So they wanted to give me an extra week and a half to see if my period would come naturally, and if not, then they'd put me on the Provera to start my period. Unfortunately, it didn't come, so now I'm waiting for them to send me the requisition for the Provera, and then I'll start the Provera, and then we can, once I get my period, we can start the process for an embryo transfer, frozen egg embryo transfer. So I'm gonna leave it there. When I get home tonight, I will tell you what my embryos look like, because I have to get to work. Sorry, I know I said that I would be letting everybody know kind of little more details on my embryos later the day of the last clip. But unfortunately, I just had a busy weekend, and I decided, well, I'll just wait until I have a moment rather than trying to rush through it. So right now I'm going to talk about my embryos. So I had 16 out of my 21 fertilized, and then 12 made it to blast. So 12 of those got biopsied, sent off for testing. And I came back at 50%, so 6 genetically normal. And I just kind of have my information here, just telling me what those embryos are. So I have one 5AA blastocyst. It is a 6-day. I actually have 4, not even 4. I have 3 6-day and 3 5-day embryos that are genetically normal. So I had a good split there. In total, before sending off for testing, I had 4 day 5 and then 8 day 6. So I do have 3 out of my 4 day 5s are genetically normal, and then 3 out of my 8 day 6s are genetically normal. So I do have a higher ratio percentage-wise that are genetically normal out of my day 5s than my day 6s, which is common. So out of my genetically normal, my best grade is my day 6, the 5AA. And then it goes to my 5 days where I have 2 4ABs. And then I have a 6-day at a 5BB, which I guess would be considered better than the 4AB. No, it would be considered. All right, so I have 1 day 6, 5AA. Then I have 2 day 5, 3ABs. And then my other day 5 is a 3AB. Now, whether those are better gradings than my other 2, I'm not sure how it would work in regards to which ones they would do first. because my last two is a 5BB and a 4BB. So I'm not sure if the 4AB would be better than the 5BB. I don't know. So how they describe the numbers is the 2 is a blast stage, 3 is full blast, 4 is expanded blast, and 5 is a hatching blast, and 6 is a hatched blast. So I don't have any 6s, but usually I did have one 6. I had one 6AA, and that is genetically abnormal. So that probably would have been the first one that we transferred, was the 6AA. Luckily I did the testing, and we're not going to waste my one free transfer on a 6AA. That is not genetically normal. Anyway, out of the ones that didn't make it, or the ones that are genetically abnormal, I have a 4AB, which was my day 5, that is genetically abnormal. And then out of the other 5, I have a 4AB, a 4BB, a 6AA, a 5AA. So, I mean, the 6AA and 5AA, those ones were really good, and they probably would have been one of the first ones to transfer. So definitely worth getting the testing for me. I don't have my chromosome chart here. I'm gonna ask for a copy, but I just completely blanked that day. I only asked for this one, which I should have asked for both. Whatever, not a big deal. Anyway, so all of these ones, I don't have any that are the, what are they called? I don't have any of those. They're all either abnormal or normal. So all my 6 are completely normal, and 70% chance of them attaching. So whether they will end up a full pregnancy, a full healthy pregnancy, is not guaranteed, of course, but they have a 70% chance at leading to a positive pregnancy test. So all of my other 6 were, how did he describe? So he described them as complex abnormalities. So it was either full chromosomes missing or added, as well as multiple partials. It wasn't just one of anything, it was multiple for both, either some of them were just missing things, some were just added things, but I think half of them were both missing parts of some chromosomes and added parts of other chromosomes. So how he basically described it is that when the embryo splits into your two, but it splits, and then when it kind of goes to multiply to others, instead of splitting evenly, it splits like unevenly. So say smaller on one side, bigger on one side, and then those split, and so on and so on and so on. And so those now have the defects because they split unevenly. So that's how they become known as abnormal, and would lead to a miscarriage about 90% of the time. Especially mine, they were complex abnormalities where they didn't even have like a known issue that would happen if it became a live birth. So, but I didn't order the actual genetic testing, like to tell me what issues they could have if they were born, or if they happened to. So that one was the PGT testing, so the diagnosis, not just testing. So, but we didn't go for that. We didn't really need to go for that because we were just finding out which ones were normal so that we can transfer those. I guess if we had done this multiple times and had come across issues, maybe we would do that. But as of right now, everything is good. I'm pretty excited. We'll probably start with our 5th one to freeze, which is our first day 6 at a 5AA, and it's genetically normal. I believe he did say that they would probably do the 5AA and then continue on to the 4ABs before going to the 5BB. But I will leave that up to the geneticists or the embryologists to decide which one would be best. I mean, if I can get 2 kids out of this, that'd be amazing. I'd be happy with 1. We've been trying for 6 years now, and I kind of just want to get it going. I have had this testing now for about a month, but I've just been kind of sitting on it and stewing on it. We skipped a month, obviously, because I had to wait for the testing to come back. Now I have to wait for my period again. And of course, because I have PCOS, my period tends to run late. I usually end up having a 60+ day period. So I actually took letrozole last cycle, not as to try, but just to keep my period on track. But I did have my, I had the Moderna COVID shot halfway through my cycle. So I have heard that, unfortunately, that the COVID shots can mess with your cycle for a couple months afterwards. It doesn't do anything except just extend your period or shorten it. Too bad I didn't get the shortening one, but it's fine. I'm just taking some medication to start my period now that it's been over 30 days. So I am on Provera for 10 days, and then it can take up to 10 days to start my period. Once I start my period, then I can start on my protocol, which will be, actually, I haven't even looked at it. My protocol will include heparin. That will only start closer to transfer day. Estrace. I'm going to be starting on estrace, so estrogen. I believe that's a couple days after the start of my period, but I'm not 100% sure when we start. They'll tell me once I call in and let them know that I've started my period. They'll let me know when to start that. Otherwise, I'm getting pretty excited. I'm on day 4 of my Provera, so about 6 days left, and then hopefully not the full 10 days. Last time I took Provera, I think my period started on day 9 out of the 10. So hopefully it happens a little sooner this time. But the Provera was only 5 days, not 10. So maybe this one will happen faster. I guess we'll see. Oh, I'm excited, but I'm really terrified. I'm really excited to do a transfer. I'm terrified it won't work, but I'm excited that I have 6 genetically normal embryos. I know that I do want to do at least a few transfers before we decide how we want to move on if they don't work. If they don't work, then there's a possibility of me using a surrogate. The only issue is that I don't really know anybody who would be a surrogate for me, and I don't know how comfortable I'd feel with a stranger carrying my child. I don't know. Maybe one of my cousins will be gracious enough. I have enough cousins at least. We'll see, I guess. I've been outside all day, so now my nose is stuffy. Thank God we just got an air purifier. Maybe I'll feel better in the morning.